So everybody, thanks so much for listening. If you're listening as a first timer, please subscribe. We have a returning guest, and this is Aaliyah Pearson. Again, if you want to find out more about her, since she's been on here before, and she has a lot of knowledge on travel, it's Briar and Main Travel Boutique. It's briarandmaintravelboutique.com. Aaliyah, thanks so much for coming on again and speaking with the audience.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is so fun.
All right, so let's kick it around. So, we are in the summer. This is the hot months for the parents, I guess, with young kids to go down to Disney World. Is that most of the trips that you're booking right now?
We are full service, so it really depends on our agents and what their specialty is. But yes, we do a lot of Disney Universal. Universal also has the Super Nintendo World that's coming soon. So that's exciting, especially for us 80s kids. But yeah, so the parks are still busy, lots of people going down there. We have lots of clients going down there this summer and into the fall mostly to experience fall at Disney and Universal, and then turning that into the holidays there as well. But for us here at least in the Tucson market, we're getting a lot of European trips this summer and fall. So most of my personal clients are going to Greece, Italy. I have someone going to Spain next month. So it's picking up big time, the Europe trips, which is very exciting. So
that's because of the lockdowns then, correct? These people
so the COVID restrictions are loosening. We still have the testing to return back to the US, so that's still in place per US law, but a lot of them are dropping. So for instance, Greece and Ireland no longer have COVID restrictions to go there. Italy just dropped theirs this past week. So it's becoming a little easier to get there if you're comfortable with the testing still to come back. That they have no word on when that may be ending, if that will end. So as of right now, it's still in place. So as long as you're aware of that going over there, it's getting easier to travel over there for sure.
When I meant the lockdowns, we did have the lockdowns in this country and obviously all around the world. Are these people that were booking and already had trips planned, and then the lockdowns came and they had to cancel their trips?
Oh, I see, yes. Okay. Yeah, so about I see what you mean now. So yes, so no worries. 3 of my honeymoon couples that were planning to go in 2020, they're on their trips right now. So they finally got to go. And then the rest are new bookings, honestly. Wow. So a lot of people coming in and wanting to book to Europe. So that's kind of the hot place right now. Of course, like I said, we got all-inclusive resorts too that are pretty busy, but I would say right now Europe and our Disney and theme park clients are keeping us the most busy.
Now, I know you're a California lady, and I know working all around in the parks in California. What are you seeing as far as California? Disneyland, SeaWorld, obviously Universal Studios, Hollywood. Are you doing a lot of business there too, or are we mainly just looking at the European trips in Disney World?
I think Disney in general that's our biggest business, is the theme park business. So it just depends on where our clients end up going. And we talked about that last time, the experience they wanted. Their first time Disney visit, it's their first visit. Where I would recommend, of course, is Disneyland if they like the nostalgia. And yeah, it's busy. We're not complaining, that's for sure. There's just so many things to look forward to and events that are going on. And if you're not afraid of heat, then, now is a great time, like when the kids are out of school, to go down to Florida. They also have great beaches there. So I usually recommend having at least 1 or 2 rest days, depending on how long you're staying there. We usually recommend, if you've never been to Walt Disney World, to go at least for 7 days. That doesn't have to be park days every day, but having a couple break days go down to Clearwater Beach, you know, just enjoy the ocean a bit, spend the time at the resort pools. So that's a couple things too. I threw in there about beating the heat when you're on vacation, but yeah, so it really depends on where they want to go. Any Disney vacation, really. We've booked a lot of Disney cruise line trips this past few months because Disney actually invited us out on one of our ships. So 3 of our agents went out and experienced what it's like to be on a Disney cruise ship at this time and the changes and how we can, you know, better help our clients. So that was pretty cool. So they went out and did that. And yeah, then we have Adventures by Disney, which is a completely immersive experience. And we've had clients that just returned from Egypt a couple months ago. We have a couple more that are going out overseas again, internationally. So it's, yeah, there's lots of ways you can go. That doesn't have to be, you know, the mouse and Goofy and all that stuff. Of course, I love those things, but yeah.
Do you do a lot of trips to Castaway Cay? We got that as an audience question. I know that's a hot thing for Disney Cruise Line. Disney does have that area in the Bahamas.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yes, so the Castaway Cay is their private island. So in order to, once you book a Disney cruise, usually you'll have 1 or 2 stops at Castaway Cay, and it's a magical place. Yeah, you can't. We highly recommend getting your own cabana. Doing a little more of the private stuff. Those do book up quickly. So whoever you're working with, the agent that you're working with, you just let them know ahead of time. I'm really interested in getting that cabana when they open up. So we're on top of that and getting those for you when they do open up. So you don't have to worry about timing and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a beautiful island. You'll see the characters on the island. They're out there in their little bathing suits, taking pictures, and it's pretty amazing. The water is just beautiful. And yeah, if you guys go to our Instagram page, you'll see a couple reels that we made while our agents were there. And it was just beautiful. Can't go wrong.
I do want to talk about the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. At the beginning, there was issues, and there was talk that it was full to the gills, fully booked out. Then they put out a promotional video, Disney did, and then people were like, some people, will say, I won't say everybody, some people say that it was a little tacky and obviously very it was pretty overpriced. We'll just say for most of the people that will be watching this. But with that said, have you done any Star Wars Galactic Star vacations? What are the people that have went there's responses? Can you tell the viewers a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we haven't had a huge response to it when it first came out, but we've had one of our agents did book a client that went, and he's a big Star Wars fan, so he was in seventh heaven, you know what I mean? So we haven't, but like I said, not a huge influx of interest for it. I think that the minimum amount is about $5,000 for 2 nights. So it's definitely, if you are a Star Wars fan and you're like gung-ho and you want to experience it, it does look pretty cool. If you're not like totally into Star Wars, it might, you know, not make sense for you to spend that amount of money for that experience. But really, that's what it is. It's an experience, much like anything there. But on another note, like I was just there was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago?
Oh, okay.
And I got a preview of the new Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind ride.
Yeah.
So if you're into, I mean, that's not Star Wars, but if you like space, it was really, really cool. And I'm just always impressed by whether it be the Star Wars experience at the, you know, the Star Cruiser experience or rides like that. I'm just always impressed with the innovation that they come up with. My mind was blown. And I don't do roller coasters very well, so I made sure I had like Dramamine ready to go, and it really wasn't that bad. I was just like, I hit a certain age and I'm like, I can't do these rides anymore, but they want me to preview it, so I will be there. And it was awesome. Like, I just can't wait for all our clients to experience it.
What was so awesome about it? Give the audience a little bit of
tidbit. So it was like a mix of Space Mountain and the Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster, but not that crazy. Like, I thought it was going to be a lot more crazy because the reviews I was hearing where people were getting sick on it. It kind of like, if you get motion sickness easily, I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be rough. But honestly, it might have been the Dramamine, I had no problem. But you think you're going one way and you end up going multiple ways. And just the perspective of where you're looking, you don't know where to look. You're like over a planet 1 second, and then you're in, you're talking to the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was really cool. And the seat that you're actually in just moves multiple ways. It never goes forward, never goes, like you'll go back, you'll turn to the side. It's just constantly, it's on one track, but your cart is moving multiple times.
Oh, okay. So almost like
you have a cool 80s track playing the whole time. And it's different for each person that rides it. So mine was the flock of seagulls. So that was really cool. But yeah, it was really neat. I liked it.
So when you talk about the cart moving around and it's just on the same track, are you talking about like something like a Midway Mania thing? Obviously, that's not a roller coaster, but it's like always like kind of jerking around.
Yes,
you?
Yes.
Okay.
But it was so smooth. You wouldn't know you were on a roller coaster. Incredibly smooth. And so when you think like that you're going to be jerked around your neck, it was nothing like that. It was incredibly smooth. And that was the biggest thing I think that didn't get me sick. It's because it just was, my stomach only turned, I think, once or twice, and because that's what my stomach does. But yeah, it was really impressive. I was impressed.
Well, that's good for viewers to know. My thing is, I've never been on the ride, but my thing is, I think they should have put that in Hollywood Studios. It's more of
honestly, I thought it was there, and they're like, yeah, we're going to Epcot. I'm like, oh gosh, it is an Epcot, isn't it? Like I envisioned it being, in Hollywood Studios, but yeah, they put it in Epcot.
Right. It seems like it's more like a Hollywood Studios, somewhere near like Rock and Roller Coaster, Tower of Terror. It would be in that kind of wavelength, but
that's what I first thought it was. But yeah, they put it in Epcot. So
it is what it is. I mean, I guess they can kind of, I guess, connect it because you got Mission Space. Then Test Track doesn't really have nothing to do with space, but Mission Space and Guardians of the Galaxy in that same area, I guess.
And I think honestly, it was because Epcot needed something else. Yeah. I think so.
Did you go on Ratatouille when you were there?
I did.
All right, talk about that. That's a new ride.
I loved it. It was so cute. Oh gosh, I was there by myself, so that was my first.
Oh, okay.
Well, it wasn't like I was in Epcot by myself that whole day. It was a solo trip, which I highly recommend too. It was really fun. Like if you are okay with hanging out with yourself for a bit. You could do single rider lines, the whole bit. It takes a lot less time, not shuffling 4 children around. But yeah, the Ratatouille ride was really cool. You feel like you shrink down to the size of a rat and you're in the kitchen and you're getting shoved. So, people are using the broom and trying to get you. And it was really cool. And the whole queue line was pretty impressive as well. So I really like that one. Yeah.
What kind of ride, as far, I guess I'll frame it this way, as far as the Disney rides that are already out there and that being a new ride, which kind of ride would you relate it to?
I would compare it to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. If you've been on that one, yeah. So it's just kind of like you're being moved to rooms and backwards and forwards in the same kind of situation. So very, very similar to that. Yeah.
But Aaliyah, let's talk about the Disney vacation destinations that you book, because I kind of want to dive deep into this. And we did a little bit of a deep dive into this, but not too much in the last interview. So when you're talking to a guest that wants to go to Disney, how do you start off the conversation with them as far as booking?
Yeah, so initially they'll contact us via our website or Instagram or what have you, and we first send them to initial planning form. So the planning form just goes over the basics of what they're looking for, the dates, their budget that they want to work with, where they want to go, how many kids and adults. So we just get the basics, the nitty gritty of what they want their trip to look like. Then we schedule a complimentary consultation with them. The consultation usually lasts like 30 minutes to an hour or so. That's when we really dive into what they envision their trip to be. Disney is kind of, it's cut and paste, you know what I mean? So once we're pretty seasoned Disney travelers. So once we kind of get an idea of what they're looking for, it's fairly easy for us to match them with the correct resort if we qualify them well enough. And so after that, like for some of us, we have different packages that we work with. We have a complimentary package, we have a concierge package, and that just includes different things. So most of us have our own Disney guide that we've put together for our clients that just guides them through everything about the parks, where to eat, what's the menu like, all that stuff, what the best rides for certain ages and heights and all those things. And after the initial booking, we manage the booking. So, but that doesn't mean they don't have access to it. So there's the My Disney experience online. They have access to their account. They can take a look at it every day. Their daily itinerary in there. They can book dining on their own. They can have us help with the dining. There's just many different ways and that we do the actual planning. Just depends on what the client wants and how much they want us involved. But yeah.
So when we talk about families, what kind of families are we dealing with? I'm sure usually the people that you're dealing with are the people with kids, correct?
Oh yes, the majority are kids ranging from babies all the way up to teenagers. We get a lot of multi-generational families that are traveling as a group. So there's a lot of moving parts, transfers, flights, people coming from different parts of the country sometimes to meet each other. So it just depends. But yeah, we get some, I get honeymooners that like to go to Disney and they've stuck with me after, they don't have kids yet, but they still go. Like there's people that just adore the Disney parks and just love to go together as adults. And I would be the same way. So yeah, there's all kinds of people that love going there.
You're getting a lot of people that are doing the VIP tours.
It depends. So I treated our agents to a VIP tour at Disneyland. It depends on what kind of experience you want. If you are short on time or if you have the means to pay for a VIP tour, I highly recommend it. You will save so much time, and they just really, especially in Florida at Walt Disney World, they really know to add those extra pixie dust magic to the VIP tours. We were able to go at Disneyland we only had one day at Disneyland Park, and we were able to get on 15 rides in less than 7 hours because the minimum is 7 hours with a group of 15 though. So there was 15 of us. So if you have like a group that you're going with and you don't want to deal with being glued to your phone the whole time with Disney Genie Plus, figuring out that stuff, then a VIP tour is an awesome way to avoid that.
I think you just gave the best advice, first of all, for anybody going to Disney World or Disneyland is to make sure you have your phone charger.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, because you are glued, and if whoever you're working with, if you have a good agent, they'll teach you all the tricks with Disney Genie Plus, but it is what it is. And now they just switched it as of June 8th. They're no longer allowing pre-purchase of Genie Plus. You have to wait till you're the morning of, you're actually in the park, which is going to make, I think, a bit more challenging for people, especially with kids. They're going to have to wake up early, figure out what they want to grab first when they get to the park. So before, we could add it to their package and they can prep, but now as of June 8th, they're switching that, so we can no longer pre-purchase it. So that's kind of a bummer. But we're always navigating the different changes, and because there's always going to be changes, it just is what it is in that area.
So I just want to get toward the end of the interview and just ask you some of these questions. When you're booking for families, and I know we talked about the cell phone, and that is a huge part of Disney right now, and making sure your phone is charged, you have a portable charger in general. Besides that, what advice are you giving to most of these families right when they walk through the gates?
So biggest piece of advice is go with the flow. That's what we like to say here, especially with kids. You can have every plan like marked down to every 15 minutes. But when you're with kids, and I'm talking specifically a family with kids, you have to breathe because you have to know that there's going to be crowds. No matter what time of year you go, it could be slower in certain parts of the year, but there will always be crowds. There will always be lines. We prepare you as much as we can, but having that grace and patience and kindness when you go to the parks will, make your day go a lot smoother and you won't be so stressed out. Taking breaks is super important, especially with kids. So if someone's just having a meltdown, it's time to take a break, and that's okay. plenty of rest areas. You can go back to a resort, take a nap. Highly recommend those breaks, especially during the hot summer months. And you'll just avoid a lot of more meltdowns than if you just keep going and pushing through. So that would be my biggest piece of advice, is just go with the flow, take breaks if needed, have a plan, but be flexible with that plan because things could change.
If people are going for a week with their families, obviously there's 4 parks. If they're, you know, depending on if they're going to Universal or SeaWorld or Busch Gardens also, I know mainly you're dealing with Universal and Disney, but regardless of that, 7 days, obviously, I'm sure that you would tell them to take a break, but for the 4 days at Disney, is that what you're mostly seeing? 7 days, 4 days at Disney, or some people going to a park twice in their week, or?
Yeah, so if you're going 4 days and if you're up for it, honestly, I would recommend having a park hopper ticket. That will give you more flexibility after that 2 o'clock mark to go to any park you want. You know, you have the park pass reservations that you have to get for the first part of your day that you pre-book before you arrive. Once you get your tickets and your package months in advance, you can make those park pass reservations, I think up to 120 days before. So once you make those, you can make a different plan of like, okay, after 2 p.m., we're going to park hop over here, and you just have a better chance of seeing more if you do that park hopper pass, especially if you're maybe just doing 3 days or 4 days. You know, there's 4 parks. You could start at each park for each day. And if you want to do like Magic Kingdom to start your trip off at the castle and you want to end it at the castle, you can. Now, that's not to say if you do 1 park per day, you can't do that, because you definitely can. But there's so much to see there, so much. And if you're not planning to come back again, this is like a one and done, or you might not be coming back till you have grandkids and the kids are older, definitely take advantage of that park hopper ticket, because there's just a lot to see.
But let me ask you this, you know, with the reservation system, which was not in place before 2020, obviously, now it is in place. You know, I know you have the 120 days. I'm sure you get people that, you know, some people book probably far out and some people don't. They might book 2-3 months out.
Or
if they're booked, okay, or a week, okay.
It happens.
That's kind of scary, but okay. Whatever floats your boat. But anyways, regardless of that, if you have those people that's booking a week, you know, Memorial Day weekend just passed, 4th of July coming up. Obviously, there's the Halloween parties after that, September, October, and then we have Thanksgiving in December with New Year's and Christmas. So a lot of holidays coming up, a lot of, you know, times where the kids are out of school in the summer, it's going to be packed. My question is, with the reservation system, if people aren't booking, you know, very far out and they're coming to you a week, a month in advance in these busy times, how are you kind of finagling with this system to make sure that they can get in during these very peak periods of the year?
Yeah, if they're coming to us like a month in advance, which is very short notice, we definitely just take a look at the park pass reservation schedule before we do anything. If there's no reservations available, we would highly recommend just moving your dates if you can, so you have a little more time. Sometimes there'll be, you know, only a couple parks left, and you could say, you know, and they say the only park available is Epcot for all 4 days because they waited, you know, they didn't plan far enough in advance. So, but they still want to go. I would suggest a park hopper ticket so they can see more while they're there, and just grab those first park pass reservations and as they get closer, we can watch, because sometimes they release tickets or park pass reservations. And if it turns green, we can see that and switch things around and just maneuver it if we can, but there's never a guarantee. So planning far in advance is definitely the way to go with the Walt Disney World, even Disneyland, because you never know when they're going to run out of those parks. They don't tell us how many they're allotting each day. So you just got to watch that calendar. If it's green, it's good. That means they're all available. If it's yellow, that you click on it and you just kind of see what parks are available and what's not. So, but yeah, it makes for a stressful, like for on our end too, like we want them to get everything they want, you know, but if there's not a lot of choice, like we work with what we have and then we try to move things around if things open back up for them.
So if you are staying at a Disney resort, we know the perk is, come in early. I don't know if you can stay later. Besides that, what other perks are they, I guess, giving at the Disney resorts? And also, when you're booking people, what Disney resorts are they leaning towards more as far as staying?
Yeah, so to start off with the perks, they used to have more perks like free transportation from MCO. That has since gone
Correct.
away, so you do have to we use Yours Transportation, and Sunshine Flyer is another one that we use for transportation now, but it is an extra cost. However, I think the biggest perk is just the proximity to the parks, getting to and from. You have those free shuttle buses that come every, 20 minutes to the resorts themselves. So you don't have to worry about parking, leaving, paying for parking, coming back. That I would say is the biggest perk. Second perk.
Skyliner too.
Oh, Skyliner, you got the monorail, all that stuff. So it's just very easy transportation, especially when you're got strollers and all that stuff. The other thing is you're in the middle of the magic. So each resort has their own vibe. So when I was there a few weeks ago, I did a split stay, which you can, and I completely recommend if you want to explore 2 different resorts and you have time. So the first one I stayed at was Port Orleans Riverside. Yep. And that had a real like Princess Tiana, Princess and the Frog feel. It was, New Orleans, the bayou feeling. And it was just a beautiful resort. It was so green. It was just lovely. The rooms were nice and clean and had a Princess and the Frog theme. And then I was there for a couple nights. Then I went over to Animal Kingdom Lodge and stayed at the Jumbo House. And that was a little more bougie. So you got Port Orleans, which is a little...
Did you get an animal room? That's the question.
I did, yes.
Oh,
so
nice.
My balcony was a Savannah room. It was a 1-bedroom Savannah room, view room. And so basically I walked out in the morning and there's giraffe outside my window and just walking around grazing, and the zebras and antelope were out there. It was really, really cool. And so you have different levels. So you have, a moderate resorts, which are like the Port Orleans. It's kind of middle ground. Then you have deluxe resorts like Animal Kingdom, Grand Floridian, those kind of bougie type places. And then you have, I don't want to say economy. They call it something else. I just went completely blank. But like Art of Animation, which is actually really nice. The All-Star
Century.
Pop Century, which are a little more economical if you don't really care. Well, even if you don't care about where you're staying, they are still pretty cool. They're all themed and the kids love them, and you can't go wrong. The pools are fun. So yeah, the biggest perk I would say is just the transportation to and from, and then being in the middle of the magic, and you just don't have to really worry too much about getting to and from. It's just awesome. The majority of our clients end up booking deluxe or the moderate, so middle ground. Just depends on what experience they want and what they're looking for budget wise. So they can't really go wrong. So,
listen,
and we all have our favorites. So, but they're all so different, and whatever vibe you're feeling, So.
You have obviously the Instagram, the blog, the website in general, Facebook page. What is the new things that are going on with Briar Main? Anything to tell the audience as we go toward the end of the interview?
Yeah, so we are expanding this fall. We're going to start offering destination weddings.
Oh, wow.
And it's very exciting for us. I've been in the wedding industry since 2000 and theme park industry. So I'm very excited. So we're relaunching our new website. We've been working on it. We have a team working on it right now. So that should be up in the next month or so. And then we're going to start really pushing our destination wedding and groups business. So it's going to be a separate Instagram page. It's going to be the same Facebook page, but because our main travel agency page is so leisure travel, I didn't want to inundate all those people with destination weddings when they may not be interested in destination weddings. So I made a whole separate Instagram page for that. It's Briar Main DW. So if you're interested in destination weddings, and there'll probably be honeymoon stuff on there too, it's another place you can find us. But we're really, really excited about that. And our group travel business, I'm excited to get that going. And that could be groups as, family groups. Maybe you're going on a family reunion, or anything that you could think of group wise. Maybe you have a golf group or a knitting group or what have you. There's river cruises that are specifically for you. And there's just so much of the world to see. It excites me. And I'm just so grateful that our agency is continuing to flourish amidst, you know, we hear a lot of negativity all the time about where the world is going, and I choose to be positive, and I have a positive outlook on the world. Things can only get better. So yes. So I'm choosing to be positive and continue to move forward. And so, yeah, that's what's new going on with us.
If people want to find more about you, I know you kind of reeled off some of the new Instagram page, Briar Main DW.
Yep.
When that comes online, is there any other places where they can find you on social media or any other websites they should look into?
Yeah, so that's our main websites were, you know, briarmaintravelboutique.com. You can also put in briarmain.com. It's a little shorter. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so Facebook, Instagram. I think I'm on Pinterest as well. I just haven't been there as often. LinkedIn, I'm there. We're pretty much everywhere. Just the main, I have to focus because I will just go all over the place. So my main focus is Facebook and Instagram and our website. But yeah, the website has all kinds of information, there's a whole Meet the Team page. So there's about 50 of us right now. That page is going to be changing a bit, but we're all over the States. So, you know, we're headquartered here out of Tucson, Arizona, but we have agents in Texas and California and Florida and all over. So you could probably find somebody in your own town that's with Briar Mains, which is very exciting.
I'm a little disappointed you did not bring up, Aaliyah, your YouTube page. I know it hasn't probably been updated in a while, but I did see Aaliyah's YouTube, and she's extremely good at making Disney pastries, pretzels, whatever it is, yeah. Disney. So, you know, I want you to, you know, tell us a little bit about that as we move to the end, because we never brought that up.
So, yeah, I haven't done it in a while because that was during COVID when things were slow. And, you know, I have been a pastry chef for many years on the side. And so I took that, I created a whole new blog trying to just keep, you know, the excitement of the parks alive and praying that things would come back to normal eventually, which they slowly are. But yeah, so that's just like a passion project. I haven't been there for a long time. We're actually on YouTube with Briar Main Travel too. I used to put all our interviews with our agents up on there, and I might start doing that again. But like I said, I have to stay focused because I go off on different tangents because I'm a creative person. But yeah, you know, I love creating things. I don't do it as much anymore because the agency is very busy. Yeah. But yeah, it's Confessions of a Pixie Traveler. I think that's what I called it. And I would do just little tutorials on how to make a Pluto cake or how to make a Sleeping Beauty cake and things like that. So
I know you did the Mickey pretzel, and I'm a huge Mickey pretzel guy. So seeing that made my day.
Mickey pretzels with my kids and did a video on that. So yeah, you know, I'll get back into it eventually. It's just one of those things that it was a passion project while things were definitely slow. And I wish I had more time to do more of it, but it is what it is. And it's on the internet to be seen. So.
All right. Aaliyah Pearson, again, BriarMainTravelBoutique.com. You know, you're a woman of many talents. We're happy to have you on, and we hope to have you on again in a couple of months to, you know, just see what else is going on with Briar Main as the expansion keeps building and building.
Yes, I'm excited. Thanks so much for having me. I can't wait for the next one. It'll be awesome.